Hey, I'm Roland with Mobile Geeks, and we're right here in Berlin, Germany, and what we've got right here is the new Nokia Lumia 625, which is actually the bigger brother of the 620. So it's a budget smartphone, and yeah, I'm gonna show you that phone right now. So this is the 620, as you can tell. It's the other cheap one from Nokia, or the mid-range, low-end, a bit above the 521 and 520. And its bigger brother is now coming out with an LTE integrated modem, which the 620 doesn't have. So there's a small size comparison right here, and as you can see, there's quite a big difference. If you hold them like this, you can see that the 4.7-inch screen compared to the 3.7-inch screen on the 620 is way bigger on a 625. They are using pretty much the same cover molding technology, so they have a white inner layer, and they're covering that with yellow and white and black and green, and orange is the new color in the range. In Germany, they're starting out with the orange version, which I have not available right now. But that's gonna be out pretty soon. Oh, I just got told I have an orange version right here. So there you go. And as you can see, the white makes it really shiny and bright. The camera can't even capture how bright this thing actually is. They're gonna start marketing it using the orange version very heavily soon. And yeah, let's take a quick look around. You've got the typical Windows buttons down here. That's the 4.7-inch screen. It's only an 800 by 480 resolution. So there's a couple of moments where you're going to notice that the resolution is not really good. If you look really closely, you can see the pixels pretty good. But if you keep it at a typical distance where you would use your smartphone, like pretty much 50 centimeters from your head or something, you can't really tell the pixels apart anymore, so that probably works out alright. It's an LCD screen, so it's not as bright as on the, for example, the 925, which I have right here. Let's go to the home screen here. So there's a couple of differences in the screen brightness, but it's actually a pretty good screen. The only difference there is concerning the screen otherwise is that basically they're not going to be able to do the glance screen stuff where you can see the clock and a couple of other notifications in the lower, in the corners of on the AMOLED screen of the 925. So that's not going to happen on the LCD of the 625 because it's just going to be drawing too much power. The brightness is pretty much alright. The colors are a bit washed out, but actually it's pretty well done. The phone is close to or just around 9 millimeters thick. If you compare this to the 925, you'll see that it's basically the same thickness. It's pretty hard to tell on this gray version of mine right here, but they're basically the same thickness. The camera buttons, the buttons are pretty much in the same positions, except for that the volume rockers on the 625 are a bit smaller, but otherwise they're very well placed to be reached with your thumb. There's a separate camera button down here, just as usual. You have a micro USB port down here, and on the left there's pretty much nothing, and on the top there's only the headphone jack. On the back there's a 5 megapixel camera and an LED flash. The camera is capable of doing 1080p videos, and down here we have a small speaker out. The cover is actually removable. I'm just going to try and do that right now. For me it's always kind of hard because I'm worried about breaking the devices. There you can see this white inner layer that's covered with the yellow or the other colors. When you remove the cover, you get access to the SIM card slot and the micro SD card slot. If you put in an SD card, it's actually going to be able to expand your onboard storage up to 64 gigs. They start out with 8 gigs of onboard memory, and you can expand that through the micro SD card slot. As you can see, that the battery is actually fixed, so you can't remove that. They're only those screws are here for the service of Nokia to actually be able to remove it when you're servicing the device, but as a user you're not supposed to remove the battery. They're telling me that it would be making the device a bit thicker, so they actually decided to keep it fixed in there. This is still a prototype, as you can see. There's no model number on here, except for their internal model number, and it's still a prototype. The device is gonna be out pretty soon in Germany and a couple of other countries in the world. They're starting out at a very low price for an LTE device, which this is actually an LTE capable device. It's quad band GSM in there and HSPA plus up to 42 megabits. The price is very low at 300 euros. So that's pretty cheap for a device of this size and with LTE integrated. The only downside to the hardware, which is actually pretty decent because it has a dual-core 1.2 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4, which is not a Snapdragon 400. They were very clear about that. Is that it only has 512 megabytes of RAM. So they're saying that that's totally enough actually, because Windows Phone 8 is very low on the hardware requirements actually. But there's probably a couple users who are not really happy about that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The battery is actually a 2000 milliampere hour battery, so that should be alright for most people. Well, this is the new Nokia Lumia 625 in a quick comparison to the 620 right here. I was Roland with Mobile Geeks. See you later.